Hello, YouTube pipers. It's Double O Pipe. Rick here. Trying to get myself settled. I'm here with a beverage. Let's see if I got this thing straight. Put it a little closer, maybe. I loaded my pipe beforehand. I'm going with my briar again. And in it, Carter Hall. 3 more days of Carter Hall. That sounds like it's just not packed closely enough. Well, this is Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday, and the next day is Sunday. And from what I understand, Sunday is the end of the challenge. Now, whether that means on Sunday we can smoke another brand of tobacco, or if that means we have to wait till Monday when Sunday is over. I think Paladin Piper should let us know so we can choose wisely on Sunday. I'd hate to stick something different in my pipe on Sunday thinking that was the last day, and come to find out I lost out because I couldn't wait. I gotta learn how to pack a pipe, I guess, because I'm having trouble keeping this thing lit. In the last video, I talked about the soldier we met in the middle of the street who was fighting off some bad dudes who weren't as bad as they thought they were. But I was thinking about the same, not that time frame, maybe a little bit earlier, after I got my driver's permit when I was 14, and at 16 you could get your driver's license. Which I had just recently gotten. So I was able to drive by myself without somebody in the passenger side. And I was the first amongst us to get that license. Now we had a few guys together, close friends. We weren't a gang or anything like that. We were just a group of friends who liked to get together and enjoy ourselves, mainly to go to the beach, chase women, drive around, just have fun. No ill intentions in our little minds. Our whole thing was to have fun, which is what we did. And I have to think that of all my friends, I feel like I had the best parents in the world. and thank the Lord that He put me in their hands, because there were two people that were no greater than these two. They were just, in my vision now, looking back, they were perfect, though at the time, lots of things happened that with any child is going to happen. And you're going to think, well, these people just hate me. They never hated me. And they always looked after me. I am grateful to have been brought up by them. What this is leading into is I got the use of the car, my mother's car, quite a bit. And usually all I had to do was ask her, and she said, sure, here are the keys, just be careful. Always be careful, which I always tried to be. Well, this particular Saturday morning, one of my friends called me up and said, are you going anywhere today? I said, well, hadn't thought about it, but I can do. Why? What you need? He said, can you come by and pick me up? I said, sure. So after he hung up, I went and talked to my mother. And she said, sure, you can use the car. I'm not going to use it. Handed me the keys and said, be careful. I said, I'll try. And this was a little Corvair, one of the new models, Corvair. Tan color. And I love driving that little thing. It was a great little car. Engine in the back, hood in the front. At any rate, I cranked it up, backed out of the driveway, and drove off to pick up my friend. Had the radio going as always. Singing along, couldn't sing worth a toot, still can't. Until I turned the corner and pulled up into the yard of my buddy. He was looking out the window, saw me, came walking out, door slammed behind him. He had a suitcase in his hand. So anyway, he opened the door and tossed the suitcase in the back seat, slid into the seat, slammed the door and said, drive, just drive. And I said, okay. Trouble with your parents? I don't want to talk about it, just drive. I said, all right. Anywhere in particular? Just drive. Well, I cranked it up again and took off, and as I was taking off, I heard the door slam behind us. Looked in the rear view, and his daddy was running out on the lawn, and I heard over the engine, it wasn't much of an engine sound, but over the engine that he better get his butt back in this yard right now, blah, blah, blah. It just faded off as we drove. I said, that looks pretty serious. What's going on? Don't want to talk about it. Just drive. I said, how about Folly Beach? He said, yeah, that sounds good. We can use Folly Beach Pier. So that's where we started to drive, and as we turned onto Folly Road, the song "We Gotta Get Out of This Place" by Eric Burton and the Animals came on. Seemed pretty appropriate, so I turned it up real loud. I was singing, George was just looking at me like, gosh, you'd stop. And we got Folly Beach about 20 minutes after we started off. And he said, over there, why don't you park over there? We can walk over to the pier. And I said, okay. So I pulled over, parked it. We got out, I locked the car, and we were walking off toward the pier. I was tucking in my shirt when we heard somebody behind us. Boys, you boys, stop, turn around. Now, my buddy heard him, and he looked back, and he said, "We better turn around." I said, "How come?" He said, "Take a look." It was a policeman, local policeman to Folly Beach. And he said, as he was approaching us, he said, "Either you boys named Ricky Croucher?" I said, "Yes, sir, that's me. What's up? What have I done?" He said, "I got a call from some irate parents." I thought, what are my parents mad about? They would have a cop come after me. He said, "You have kidnapped their son." I said, "I beg your pardon?" He said, "Kidnapped. You're going to jail for kidnapping." I said, "What? I can't believe you." He said, that's what they said. They said, "You kidnapped their son, so I want you to face the car there and get ready to put these cuffs on. Hands behind your back, please." Now, my buddy was walking closer to the policeman to say something, and the policeman looked at him, who was about a foot taller than me, and he turned me around and looked at me. Of course, I had a baby face, and he said, "How old are you, boy?" I said, "I'm 17. He looked at my friend and said, "How old are you?" He said, 18. He said, 18, you're an adult. 17, you're a minor. He said the charge was that you were, what was it? Aiding, abetting, and influencing a minor. And you're the minor. He's an adult. And I said, "Well, what does all that mean, officer?" He said, "That means I can't arrest you because you're not guilty of anything. You're a minor." I said, "Well, that's good because I didn't want to be arrested." And he said, "Well, I guess I'll have to take your friend here in because somebody's got to go to jail." I said, "We don't have to go to jail." He said, "No, but I need to take him so I can call his parents and say that I have him so they can come get him." So I said, "Well, what do I do? Do I come with you or what?" And he said, "No, you go on home. You don't need to be involved in this anymore." So I said, "All right." I waved goodbye to my friend and said, "I'll see you later. You take care. What about your suitcase?" He said, "You keep it. When I get out, I'm coming to your place." I said, "All right, I'll do that." Well, I found out later the cop called his parents and he explained the situation to him, said that he could not arrest me because I was a minor and their son was an adult. And they said, "Well, keep him in jail to teach him a lesson." So he stayed in jail overnight because his parents were hard-headed. At any rate, after all that occurred, he did come over to our place, and Dad said he could stay, as he did with so many of my friends who needed to get away from their parents. See, that's what I meant about I was fortunate. God looked after me and gave me the best parents. I never wanted to run away from them because they always treated me so well. They treated me. I never got treatment like these other fellas. But usually they didn't stay for very long. my dad was always willing to put them up, to take them in. My dad had a good heart. I think he remembered his childhood when his parents weren't so good to him back during the Depression and the war. So anyway, that was my story about almost being arrested. If I had been 1 year older, I would have been. Never did get to the pier. The pier was our hangout during the summer days. Folly Pier. They used to have bands there, Fats Domino, the Hot Nuts. Anybody ever heard of the Hot Nuts? That was a wild band to listen to while you were getting drunk on the pier. I have other stories about that. Maybe I'll pick one up one time. But right now, I think I'm talked out. I appreciate your listening. Hope it didn't bore you. And I hope everybody's doing all right. I have to say, God bless. Until the next time, take care of yourselves.